Hey everyone, Mónica Fernandes with Evolution Essentials. In this video, we are tackling the stress of New Year resolutions. Tackle expectations and set goals in 2022. It really does not matter if you're watching this mid-year. This is all about anytime you make a resolution, and New Year, it seems it's very popular to make New Year resolutions. So if you have been to my channel, welcome back. If this is new to you and I'm new to you, welcome. And let's start off with looking at the word resolution. What does that mean? To me, it means to decide to do or not to do something. So that you have two choices, doing something and not doing something. Sometimes it's easier to decide not to do something. And it's very stressful when you have that pressure to decide something, because that takes a level of commitment. So for New Year resolutions, you need to have some goals, some wishes and desires. So instead of thinking, oh my God, I need to come up with some decisions, I need to come up with some goals. And with New Year resolutions, you may not want to have any. And that's a decision. That is a resolution for New Year's, or whenever you're making a resolution of not having a resolution, not deciding to do something. That's okay, because sometimes the stress of having New Year resolutions is really, really overwhelming. And that's where we're tackling now, is when we do come up with New Year resolutions. What does that look like? What types of resolutions are there? And with New Year's resolutions, people sometimes think you have to start from scratch. But that doesn't mean start from zero. And New Year's is really just a date, right? Nothing really changes. Night turns into day, day turns into night. So you can be in the middle of your goals and then come up with a different decision and a different goal to achieve. So what's goal setting? Let's think about goal setting in general. Goal setting is the process of taking active steps to achieve your desired outcome. What does this mean? It means that if you want something, you need to kind of outline how to get there. Really simple. It sounds super simple, but it's kind of crazy, right? It can be kind of crazy, and it can be really, really stressful to undertake such a project. To me, it is. I've never been taught how to goal set in my entire life. So whatever type of goal setting I've learned throughout the years has been as an adult, not when I was growing up. So what kind of goals can you have? So there's different types of goals. You can have professional goals. That could be, in your career or in your profession, you want to have that promotion. Or for example, you want to start a new business or up-level your business. You want to reach a new level in your business. So that takes some thinking and some goal setting. Your goal can be financial. So for example, you can decide, I want to save $100,000. Okay, well, how do I do this? So you need to outline steps to do that. Another financial goal could be buying a house. That could be your dream goal. And there's steps. You can't just, go from 0 to 100. You need to come up with some steps on how you're going to do that. Other types of goals can be educational goals. So if you're really wanting to go back to school or learn a new skill or something like that, it could be that you want to learn a totally different skill, and that's okay. You can totally do that. And other goals to have is family goals. So for example, you want to have a baby. All right, it's easier said than done sometimes. Sometimes couples have just very much difficulty in achieving this goal. So improving the relationship with a family member could be another family goal. And you need to think about the steps that you need to outline in order to achieve that. Another type of goal could be health goal. So you want to lose weight. That's a really popular one when the new year comes along. You can, for example, you want to make way in improving a health condition, for example, such an autoimmune disease. Or it could be as simple as, I want to sleep better. How do I achieve that? There's different ways that I can research and steps that I can take to achieve that. The goal can be artistic. So for example, imagine you want to make a painting. Well, you got to start. right? You got to start and finish. So you probably have to think about your colors, your materials, what types of materials, maybe you want to think about when do you have this done by? Are you going to set some time every week to do it? And all that. For example, you might want to build a table. Okay, so there's different steps to building a table. What does that look like? Or one of my goals is writing a book. All right, so you got to start somewhere. Do you have a practice of writing in general? Do you know what your book is going to be about? Even books have outlines when you're really thinking about the book. So there's all of these things that you can do in terms of artistic goals. Another type of goal is mindset. So for example, you can have a goal of meditating more, shifting something psychological, for example, shift patterns and programs that you've learned and that you want to kind of deconstruct. And if you want a little bit more help with this, last year I actually did a video on 21 tips to emotionally reset, and you can catch that right here. Another type of goal can be leisure. Imagine you love traveling and you want to go to all these places. All right, well, you need a plan, right? Maybe you can just take off and just go. But normally, if you want to optimize your travel, perhaps planning is a good thing. And a leisure goal can be you want a little bit more self-care. For example, you want to do some energy work. You want to get a massage. You want to go to a spa, have a facial, all these things. So of course, you are going to need to make a plan and actually trace in your schedule time, carve out in your calendar time to do this, right? Even if it's not you're doing to yourself, but you're allotting time so that somebody else can do that to you, right? And if you haven't done already, I would really, really, really love for you to subscribe to my channel. And you can do that right here in the red button. Don't forget that notification bell. That way you're notified every time I upload a new video every week. So thanks for hitting that button right now. So how do we tackle these expectations, right? And I talked about the types of goals, and now you need to think about the expectations. And I'm going to tell you, really let go of expectations, because expectations can really put a lot of pressure. It can be really scary and overwhelming and really create anxiety to have, these New Year resolutions or these mid-year resolutions or whenever resolutions. And if you struggle with anxiety, I would really suggest that you watch this video right here that I did on 8 essential oils for anxious feelings. So that gives you some tools on tackling that. So the part of letting go of expectations, really, let's face it, we're in pandemic years, you guys. It hasn't been easy. You just need to really give yourself a break and not put more pressure on you. And if you feel like it's so stressful and you really can't handle it, so in terms of adding to that anxiety, you just feel stressful. I actually had a talk with my cousin Sandra, who's an expert on EFT, on how to reduce stress levels during pandemic times and beyond. And you can catch that right there, which is still relevant today. Another thing you can do to let go of expectations is focus on the positive. That's really important. Sometimes we tend to think about negative things, how everything's gonna go wrong, and just the world is on your shoulders, is on your head, it's gonna come down. And you need to just shift that thought and be like, okay, what's one positive thing that I can have regarding this resolution I've made? So another thing that's popular to do is the SMART goals. And I'm not that smart at implementing these SMART goals, but I totally understand them. And I fail really tremendously on this. So S stands for specific or significant. M stands for measurable or meaningful. A stands for attainable or action-oriented. R stands for relevant or rewarding. And T stands for time-bound or trackable. So that's how you measure how well you're doing in your goal. You don't have to have humongous goals. You can start with small goals. I really thrive when I pick small goals because they're easier to achieve in my mind. So I actually love making lists, and I'm not usually someone that loves lists, but I love making lists because I just really love checking them off, like checking off the items and everything else. I'll give you an example. I was by myself for 3 weeks, so it was kind of like a, I was home for 3 weeks without my significant other, and I used that time to tackle and accomplish some house goals that I had. So I actually made a list that was like 2 pages, and every day it was like, I would just love to check off everything. And my goal, so to be trackable, was that my deadline was the 3 weeks. So I had to accomplish that within the 3 weeks. So that's just an example. And another thing that you can use, there's these blocks of paper. I don't know if you can see with my green screen, blocks of papers that you can use. You can buy them at TJ Maxx and Marshalls and places like that, Target. And you can make lists. I'm telling you, you can have little booklets of lists. I don't know if you see this, but booklets of lists. You can do sticky notes. I'm not a huge fan of sticky notes, but you could do sticky notes. Just lists that already have this to-do stuff. You can just check off. They already come with the little squares, so you can check them off. So there's really great tools out there that you can use that. And if you are not a paper person, you can actually use your phone and set a reminder. So if you're an iPhone user, you can just, go into your notes and just go from there and make your notes like that. And there's also reminders here. I'm not good at using reminders, but you can do that. You can definitely make a note with you can set your reminders. So my advice to you is also don't obsess. Now that you know how to set goals, so you know which category your goal comes from, you know how to let go of expectations, focus on the positive, and make them SMART goals. So outline all the steps and don't make that the entire focus of your life. You need to not forget how to live and enjoy. And the best way that I know how to do that is to connect with other people. So have conversations, talk with someone, and the people are in your life. They're really great accountability partners. And I'm very grateful for them. And I feel like gratitude, expressing gratitude, is really something that sets you up positively for goal setting. And I actually talked about, how crazy I am about essential oils. I actually talked about 5 essential oils to express and enhance gratitude. And you can watch that right there because I go over some tips and tools on how to do that. But also think of the number of goals. Don't spread yourself out too thin with way too many goals, because that's just not achievable. You're probably not immortal, right? You're probably not a superhero. Maybe you are, but you know what I'm saying, like superhero powers. You probably need your sleep, so you need at least that time to rest. So just make sure you pick few goals, but have a really good plan, and that way they're more achievable. And I hope you got major value from this video and that I really tackled this subject. And I want you to comment below with which goal you are going to set first. What is going to be your first goal? Okay? And I'll see you next time.